Hey guys, let's do a pregnancy bump update. So I am now, get this baby out of me, weeks along. The baby is the size of a whale and what sounds like at least 5 painful stitches. My main symptom is
killed his own son or plotted to kill his own son. He's been out for 2 years while this investigation is going on, while my daughter and his grandson are resting in a grave. I don't think he should see the light of day until this case is solved.
It was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. March 4th, 2023. A cold morning in Colerain Township, Ohio. Inside the Hidden Meadows apartments, 26-year-old India Kinamore was getting ready for something beautiful, her scheduled induction. After months of anticipation, she was finally going to meet her baby. But before the sun could rise, tragedy struck in the cruelest way imaginable. At around 6 o'clock that morning, police responded to a call that shattered a community. Inside her apartment, officers found India lifeless, killed by a single gunshot wound. Her unborn baby, who should have been born that very day, didn't survive either. The most heartbreaking part, her 6-year-old son was inside the apartment. He was the one who called his grandmother for help, whispering that "Mommy's not moving." What looked like a burglary gone wrong soon turned into a chilling murder investigation, one that would uncover betrayal, manipulation, and a calculated plan to erase a young mother and her child before they ever had a chance at life. As detectives dug deeper, they discovered a story darker than anyone could have imagined. India had been in a relationship with Kayvon Warren, a 30-year-old man who was also the father of her unborn baby. But what no one realized was that Kayvon had been living a double life, balancing 2 relationships, mounting financial troubles, and the looming fear of losing everything. When India became pregnant, Kayvon reportedly begged her to end the pregnancy. But by the time he asked, it was too late. State law protected pregnancies that far along. Instead of accepting responsibility, prosecutors say Kayvon decided that if the baby couldn't be gone legally, he would make sure both India and the baby disappeared permanently. In the weeks before her death, India told close friends that she felt something wasn't right, that Kayvon had grown distant, angry, and cold. But she never imagined he would go this far. Authorities later revealed that Kayvon didn't act alone. They say he enlisted Robert Ervin, age 20, and Lamar Suggs, 22, to carry out the murder. Cell phone data, text messages, and vehicle tracking would eventually expose a conspiracy, a plan formed in group texts, executed while India slept, and staged to look like a home invasion. Even more chilling, Kayvon allegedly requested bereavement leave from his job before the murder happened. And afterward, as India's loved ones grieved online, he posted messages about how hurt he was, pretending to mourn the woman and child he's accused of having killed. 2 years passed before arrests were made. But when the pieces finally came together, they painted a picture of heartless betrayal. This is not just a murder story. It's a story about trust, love, and the terrifying lengths some people will go to hide their lies. It's the story of India Kinamore, a woman full of life, love, and hope, whose light was stolen on the day it was supposed to shine brightest. You are onto True Crime Diaries, a place where we uncover shocking cases, unsolved mysteries, and the darkest corners of real-life crime. From headline-making events to hidden investigation details, we break it all down so you can understand what really happened. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notification so you are first to know when a new case is published. These are real people, real tragedies, and real lessons we can't afford to ignore. Share this video with someone you care about. It might change a life or save one. Let's dive in.
Hello.
Man, I think me and you need some space, man.
Space? What you mean, like space or space?
Space as in separate.
Okay, well, you can go in the living room and I go in the other room. What you talking about?
I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about seeing
Crazy.
other people. Like, meet other people.
Okay, then, you want to meet other people?
Yup.
You want to meet other people?
Yup.
Okay, I tell you what then. You can meet God, and I'm going to go meet the judge. Them the only doggone people you going to meet. Stop here with me. You with me until you die, okay?
Before her name became part of a criminal case, India Kinamore was known simply as Indy to those who loved her. She was a 26-year-old mother who found joy in the small things. Sunday breakfast with her son, movie nights in pajamas, dancing in the kitchen when her favorite song came on. Her life wasn't perfect, but she worked hard to make it warm, stable, and full of love. Friends say she carried herself with confidence and pride, even when life tested her. She was raising her little boy largely on her own, balancing work, bills, and pregnancy appointments, and she did it with a smile that could light up a room. Her family describes her as a giver. If you needed something, India found a way to help. She was the kind of person who would share her last meal if you were hungry, or stay up late listening when a friend needed to talk. To her, love wasn't about words. It was about what you did for people. India grew up in the Cincinnati area, surrounded by close relatives who adored her. Her mother often said that India had a heart too big for this world. As a teenager, she dreamed of working in a field where she could care for others, something that matched her nature. When she became a mother for the first time, everything changed. Her son became the center of her world. She wanted to give him every opportunity she didn't have. Her social media posts were full of smiles, birthdays, and milestones, not for attention, but because she was proud of being his mom. By early 2023, India was expecting her second child, a baby she'd spoken about with so much excitement. She had prepared a small space in her apartment, filling it with soft blankets, pastel onesies, and bottles stacked neatly on a shelf. She was counting down the days until she could hold her baby in her arms. Her friends say she was glowing, more hopeful than ever. She talked about new beginnings, about moving into a bigger place, maybe even starting a new career after maternity leave. It was clear she was ready to build a better life, not just for herself, but for her children. But behind her smile, there were worries she rarely shared. She had been in a complicated relationship with the father of her unborn child, a man named Kayvon Warren. The two had history, years of ups and downs, moments of love mixed with distance and arguments. People close to India sensed she was trying to make peace with the situation, to keep things calm for the sake of her growing family. She wanted stability more than anything. Her mother later recalled that India seemed uneasy during her final weeks. She would say things like, "I just want everything to be okay when the baby comes." It was a small sentence that carried the weight of someone trying to hold her life together. Still, India refused to let fear take her joy. She was excited for motherhood, proud of her son, and full of dreams that were just starting to take shape. For those who knew her, it's almost impossible to believe that her final day began like any other, quiet, hopeful, and filled with plans for the future. India's world had shifted the moment she found out she was expecting another child. The father of her baby, Kayvon Warren, age 30, stood at the center of what seemed a hopeful chapter, until the hope began to sour. At first, their relationship appeared like many others. They shared smiles, listened to each other, and made plans for a new member of the family. But as the months passed, those plans started to stall. Kayvon's struggles became more visible. According to prosecutors, he faced severe financial distress, including the risk of losing his home. Investigators say that Kayvon didn't hide the pressure he put on India to end the pregnancy. He reportedly asked her to have an abortion, telling her he couldn't handle the baby. But India refused. At the same time, the relationship was further complicated by another woman. Prosecutors alleged that Kayvon was involved with someone else while still in relationship with India. These weren't just whispers, they were red flags. Fights broke out. India became uneasy. She shared with close friends that Kayvon had become distant. She didn't voice fears of violence, but she sensed something was wrong. Even as she prepared for the arrival of her child, the warmth and excitement in the household gradually cooled. In the final days leading up to March 4th, 2023, the tension escalated. Evidence later revealed that Kayvon asked his employer for bereavement leave, ironically, before the crime occurred. Prosecutors say this request was part of the planning. Meanwhile, two additional men entered the narrative: Robert Ervin, age 20, and Lamar Suggs, age 22. They would come to be identified as part of the plot. Court documents and cell phone records show that they communicated with Kayvon in group chats about meeting and executing a plan. What should have been a tranquil home, a mother and her son awaiting a new sibling, was instead simmering with hidden betrayal. India's son, unaware of the storm building around his family, played in the living room while tension crackled nearby. India, in her final week of pregnancy, willed herself to stay calm, to believe that love would win. But deep inside, she knew something wasn't right. And so the scene was set: a loving mother, a neglected partner, secret talks, phone pings in the dead of night, a request for leave from work that hinted at desolation. A beautiful future was unraveling, thread by thread. Visual: phone screen showing the timestamp, 12:47 a.m. Map overlay of a vehicle moving toward the Hidden Meadows apartments. India didn't know that she had become the victim of a plot. Kayvon's outward grief and hurt posts on social media would later reveal the chilling irony. The same man who would reportedly hire others to kill her was simultaneously performing sorrow. The day was planned. The target, the unborn child, and the mother who refused to give up hope. This was not a spontaneous act of violence. According to prosecutors, the killing of India Kinamore and her unborn child was the outcome of a cold-blooded, prearranged scheme. 2 years passed in silence. 2 long years since the night India's light was stolen. Her killers thought they'd buried the truth with her. But evidence doesn't stay silent forever. When investigators finally pieced the puzzle together, the mask fell. Kayvon Warren, Robert Ervin, and Lamar Suggs were arrested and charged for their cruel plan. As news spread, India's mother stood at her daughter's grave, tears tracing her cheeks. She whispered, "They finally found you justice, baby." The wind carried her words, soft, steady, unbroken.
He killed his own son, or plotted to kill his own son. He's been out for 2 years while this investigation is going on, while my daughter and his grandson are resting in a grave. I don't think he should see the light of day until this case is solved.
India Kinamore's mother spoke to us from here at Spring Grove Cemetery, where her daughter and unborn grandchild are both buried. Terry Kinamore says she always knew justice would come, but wasn't sure how long it would take.
I never gave up. There was a lot of people that just thought that this case would never be solved. And I have faith in God. I know that God can do anything.
A grieving mother sits next to her daughter and unborn grandson's grave. In the beginning, Terry Kinamore says it was hard for her to visit. Now she says it feels a little bit lighter.
Now, I'm able to come back and tell her that the people that did this to her, they have been caught and justice will be served.
Colerain Township Police announced last week 3 people have been charged with the murder of India Kinamore and her unborn child: Robert Ervin, Lamar Suggs, and Kayvon Warren.
I just don't know why someone would want to do something like that. Not to just one person, but 2 people.
Terry says Warren is the child's father. He and India had been in a relationship for a couple of years. The other 2 suspects, Terry says she had never met.
I thought that Kayvon was a nice, upstanding gentleman. And he turned out to be a complete opposite, a monster. Because only a monster would do something like this.
The shooting happened at an apartment complex on Hidden Meadows Drive, according to Colerain police, but a motive is still unknown. Kinamore, Terry says, was due to deliver baby Kyron within hours of being killed.
She couldn't wait to have him and to meet him and hold him, and she never got that chance. He never got that chance to feel his mother's arms around him and to hear, "I love you."
Terry says Warren's lack of concern about the status of the investigation was always a red flag.
And to come and find out that you had something to do with it, that's a slap in the face. That's a slap in the face. you never really cared. You couldn't have cared.
Well, Terry says that her daughter was always willing to help someone. She described her as fun-spirited and funny, and she says that she misses her every single day. Meanwhile, both Ervin and Warren, they appeared in court on Friday. Their bonds set at $600,000. Suggs is in the Ohio Department of Corrections on separate charges.
India's mother recalls the moment her life shattered. It was her 6-year-old grandson's small, frightened voice on the other end, and his innocent confusion narrated what he had just witnessed, the unthinkable. When police arrived, the truth slowly began to unravel, a web of deceit, jealousy, and planning. 2 years of investigation exposed the dark conspiracy against India and her unborn child. In court, Kayvon Warren's attorney pleaded for mercy, asking for a reasonable bond, citing his steady job, clean record, and the fact that he'd remained in the city despite knowing he was under investigation. But as India's mother listened from the gallery, her heart hardened. For her, no job or record could erase what was taken: her daughter, her grandchild, her peace.
Rob, yeah, bond hearings, they usually happen pretty quickly. This one took a bit longer. Prosecutors talked case details. They even allowed the victim's mother, who we just heard, recount how it is that she found out her daughter and unborn grandson had been murdered.
Her child was 6 years old when this murder happened, and he was in the house. I got the phone call from my grandson to say, my mommy has been shot. Somebody is in our house shooting, and my mommy is screaming.
March 4th, 2023, a day Terry Kinamore will never forget. Her 26-year-old pregnant daughter, India, killed in her home. Terry says India's partner and the father of her unborn child, Kayvon Warren, were together when it happened.
From the surveillance of the apartment, you can hear my child screaming every time she got shot, but not once did you hear Mr. Warren say, what the hell is going on, baby this, and you heard nothing.
Prosecutors say a complex investigation yielded cell phone records and location evidence pointing to Warren, Robert Ervin, and the alleged gunman Lamar Morris Suggs orchestrating the murder.
At some point, the evidence that has been uncovered was that he wanted her to terminate that pregnancy. Ms. Kinamore was scheduled to be induced the same morning as the murder.
It's very unfortunate that this woman was killed and she was pregnant with his child, a child that he wanted.
Warren's defense attorney Clyde Bennett asked for a reasonable bond, saying Warren has a full-time job, no criminal history, and has not fled the city despite knowing he was under investigation for the last 2 years.
Someone willing to engage in this level of violence against people that they would care about, love, and with this level of cruelty makes us believe that if he is out, the rest of us wouldn't stand a chance.
Warren was issued a $600,000 bond for the 2 murder charges he's facing, similar to his co-defendant Robert Ervin. Here's his defense attorney.
The only tie that he has with this case is from some messages that apparently have the 2 co-defendants in and allegedly have Mr. Ervin in. So he finds himself in a guilty by association situation here.
Prosecutors say evidence shows Ervin parked near the murder and was communicating with his co-defendants in the hours leading up to it.
Conspiring to come up with this plan to kill Ms. Kinamore and her unborn child.
Yeah, now the alleged gunman, he was not in court today. He's currently being locked up at the Ohio Department of Corrections on an unrelated felony charge. We're, of course, going to continue following all 3 of these cases as they make their way through the court system.
While the case remains adjourned and the final judgment still awaits, hope lingers in every heart. The community stands united, praying that the truth will prevail and justice will be served. Each passing day feels like a quiet countdown to closure. A moment India's family has longed for since that tragic morning. They wait not just for a verdict, but for peace, for the reassurance that their daughter's story mattered. As the legal process unfolds, faith remains steadfast that the right outcome will come, one that honors India's memory and brings long overdue justice to her name. The news of India Kinamore's death rippled through the community like a cold wave. Neighbors who once saw her laughter echo through the Hidden Meadows apartments now stood outside with candles in trembling hands. Her family, Faces streaked with tears gathered around photos, holding onto one another for strength. India's mother, broken but unbowed, became the voice for her daughter, reminding everyone that behind every headline is a heartbeat that once filled a home. The community refused to let her name fade. Churches opened their doors for vigils. Strangers sent letters and prayers. Her co-workers described her as sunshine wrapped in kindness, a mother who worked tirelessly for her son's future. Even those who had never met her felt the loss, a silence heavy enough to haunt every corner of the township. For Colerain Township, India wasn't just another victim. She was a daughter, a mother, a neighbor, a symbol of how love, though taken too soon, can still light the dark. Time has moved forward, but India's presence lingers, in the laughter of her son, in the strength of her mother, in every heart touched by her story. What was once tragedy has become a rallying cry for awareness and justice. The community that mourned her now speaks her name with purpose. Her mother founded a local support group for families affected by domestic violence, helping others find courage before silence turns fatal. Though her unborn baby never drew breath, their memory breathes life into change. Each vigil, each march, each shared story carries the message: no woman should live in fear. India Kinamore's legacy isn't found only in grief, but in resilience, in a community that turned heartbreak into action. Her story reminds us that justice is not just about punishment, but about remembrance. She may have been silenced, but her light still speaks, softly, powerfully, through every life her story saves. That's a wrap on today's case. But the story doesn't stop here. There are countless voices still unheard, stories still in the shadows, and truths still waiting to be uncovered. Here at True Crime Diaries, we're dedicated to digging deep, exposing the facts, honoring the victims, and keeping their memories alive. Hit subscribe, like this video, turn on notifications so you're always first to know when a new case drops. Thank you for watching. See you on the next one.